want you to picture a specific moment. It's 11:30 p.m. You're in bed. The lights are off.
Yeah.
You're just drifting into that sweet pre-sleep state where the worries of the world are finally fading away. And then
Boost. I know where this is going.
your phone lights up the room like a police spotlight. You squint at the screen, blinding yourself, and there it is, the notification, the guilt trip. You haven't extended your streak today. And there's that little green owl staring at you, judging you, weeping fake digital tears because you dared to try to sleep instead of translating "the boy eats the bread" for the 4,000th time.
The tyranny of the owl. I know it well. It's not a reminder. It's a hostage situation.
It is.
It's emotional blackmail from a cartoon bird.
It really is. And look, I am a victim here. I am the target demographic. I saw this headline the other day that triggered this whole spiral for me. It promised, learn Japanese in 7 weeks with ChatGPT.
Right.
And my immediate visceral reaction was to roll my eyes so hard I almost saw my own brainstem.
Of course, it sounds like a scam.
It sounds exactly like those 3 a.m. infomercials. Eat this entire chocolate cake and lose 30 pounds by Tuesday. It feels like snake oil. But then I looked at my phone. I looked at my stats. I have a 200-day streak. 200 days of learning.
Let me guess the reality of those 200 days.
Yeah.
You've been religiously feeding the owl, collecting your gems, keeping the flame lit, maybe buying a streak freeze or two just to feel safe.
Oh, absolutely.
You're treating it like a Tamagotchi that you're terrified will die.
Religiously, I am a model citizen of the app. I've got the badges, I have the XP, but here's the painful, embarrassing reality check, and this is why that 7 weeks headline actually hurt my feelings. After 6 months of daily engagement, of feeling productive, if you drop me in the middle of Tokyo right now,
Shibuya Crossing. Chaos.
Shibuya Crossing, bright lights, total chaos, and I was starving. The only thing I could confidently identify is that the apple is red. I can't order dinner, I can't ask where the bathroom is, but I can tell you about the color of the fruit.
Because you aren't learning a language.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be very clear about this right from the start, and we're going to be harsh today because the sources demand it. You are not a student. You are a user.
A user.
And that green owl isn't a teacher. It's a dopamine dealer.
Dopamine dealer. That is a heavy label. I mean, it makes me feel like I'm in an alleyway rather than a classroom.
It's the only accurate label. Look, you're comparing a survival skill language to what is essentially an educational skin wrapped around Candy Crush.
Yeah.
The mechanics are identical. You press a button, you get a shiny animation, a distinct ding sound, a chest opens, gems fly out,
Yeah, the little chime.
and your brain goes, "Good job, monkey, you achieved something." But let's look at the ROI, the return on investment. You've invested dozens, maybe hundreds of hours of your actual finite life for the ability to point at an apple. That isn't learning. That is legalized time wasting.
Legalized time wasting. Wow. That hits home because I feel busy. I feel like I'm doing the work. You know, I'm doing the reps. I'm putting in the time on the commute.
That's the entire trap. It's the illusion of productivity. It is designed from the ground up to make you feel good, not to make you competent. If you want to actually speak, and I mean speak enough to survive, to order ramen, to not starve, to argue with a taxi driver, you have to stop playing games and start training.
Which is what this deep dive is all about today.
Exactly. We're looking at this approach by MD Riazuddin and some supporting research on AI pedagogy, which is basically a manifesto for killing the gamification and embracing the survival simulator.
Right, the pivot from gaming to survival. And the claim here is 7 weeks. I mean, 7 weeks to functional speaking, or as he puts it, you starve.
Exactly. It's high stakes. It's not about keeping a streak alive. It's about functional competence. Can you navigate the world? If no, you failed. It doesn't matter how many gems you have.
So let's unpack this, because I know I'm not the only one. There are millions of people caught in this loop. Why exactly is the owl failing us? I mean, surely some learning is happening. I know the word for water and boy. That counts for something, right? I can recognize the characters.
Does it? Or are you just getting better at the game? I mean, let's look at the legalized stupidity argument, which is a phrase I absolutely love from the source material. If you go on Reddit, there are these massive threads titled Disappointment in Duolingo. It's a known life cycle.
Oh, I've seen them.
It's fun for 2 months. It's bright. It's colorful. The characters have their little stories. You know, Lily's emo, Zari is peppy. It's a soap opera.
Right, it's a distraction.
And then you hit a wall.
Yeah.
You realize you cannot actually string a sentence together outside the app, The knowledge is trapped inside that ecosystem.
I have felt that wall. It's like I know the words when they're on the screen, but if I close my eyes, they're gone. It's like the knowledge evaporates the second the blue light turns off.
Yes,
It feels like I'm renting the knowledge, not owning it.
that's a perfect way to put it. Because of the mechanics of failure, or rather the lack of failure. Think about how you answer a question in the app. It gives you a sentence to translate, and it gives you a bank of 10 words to choose from.
Right, the word bubbles, you just tap them in order to form the sentence.
But do you? Do you really translate? Or do you just look at the bubbles? You see elephant, sandwich is the red. You know the answer isn't the sandwich is elephant. You're not retrieving language from your brain. You're using the method of elimination.
I'm just playing Sudoku with words.
You're playing Tetris. You're guessing based on UI cues. You're looking for the capitalized word to start the sentence and the word with the period to end it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do that constantly. I am not translating sandwich. I'm just seeing that sandwich is the only noun left that fits in the slot. I am matching shapes, not meanings.
Precisely. It's Pavlovian conditioning. You see a picture of the cat, you click the button with the cat symbol, you get a treat. You're being trained like a dog to react to stimuli, not to construct complex thoughts.
So it's an ego booster.
It's a pure ego booster. The app is designed to make you feel smart. It holds your hand so you never have to face the crushing reality that you don't know the answer. It creates an illusion of competence. And that illusion is profitable for them because if you felt stupid, you'd quit.
And that illusion shatters the second a real human being speaks to you at normal speed.
Instantly.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
evaporates.
Yeah.
Because reality doesn't offer you multiple choice bubbles. When you're in Paris and the waiter asks you a question, floating words don't appear in the air for you to tap on.
No safety net.
You don't get 3 lives. Reality requires active recall.
Active recall. Okay, that's a term that came up heavily in the research. Break that down for us. How is that different from what the app does?
It's the difference between recognizing a face in a crowd and drawing that face from memory on a blank sheet of paper.
Ah.
Recognition is easy. It's passive. Your brain sees the options and goes, oh, yeah, that one. It requires very little caloric burn. Active recall is when your brain has to dig into the archives, find the neural pathway, and give birth to the answer from scratch. It's cognitively expensive,
It's hard.
difficult, it's often painful. You have to struggle. You have to sweat a little bit.
And the app removes the sweat. It wipes your brow before you even get warm.
The app removes the struggle, and therefore it removes the learning. Neurologically, that struggle, that moment where you're grasping for the word and can't find it, that is the signal to the brain that this information is important. Hey, pay attention to this. We needed it and didn't have it.
So it's a priority flag.
Exactly. If you bypass the struggle with a multiple choice hint, the brain tags the information as low priority. It says, don't worry about storing this. The answer is right there on the screen.
So enter AI. Because the sources we're looking at today argue that AI is the antidote to this passive multiple choice laziness. But how is chatting with a robot different? I mean, isn't it just a fancier text interface? Isn't ChatGPT just a bigger, smarter Duolingo?
No, because AI strips away the safety net. If you use the method we're discussing, and we'll get into the specific prompts, AI demands active recall. It doesn't give you options. It asks you a question, and you have to formulate the answer. If you don't know it, you fail. And that failure is crucial.
Okay, so it forces the struggle.
It forces the struggle, but it does so in a way that brings us to the biggest barrier in language learning, which isn't grammar, it's not vocab, it's psychology.
You mean the fear, the sheer terror of opening your mouth.
The fear, what the research calls language anxiety.
Oh, I know this. I feel this in my bones. It's worse than public speaking, because at least with public speaking, people understand the words I'm fumbling.
There was this fascinating Japanese study on language anxiety referenced in our stack. And we all know this feeling. You're in a foreign country. You walk up to a local to ask for directions. You have the sentence rehearsed in your head. You said it 10 times in the mirror. You open your mouth, you say it, and they look at you with total confusion. They squint, they lean in, they say, what? Or, huh?
Ugh, yes. The cringe. It is paralyzing. You just want to crawl into a hole and die. Your face gets hot, your heart rate spikes, it's a fight or flight response, you feel like an intruder.
Exactly. That's the fear of social rejection. It's primal. And it shuts down the learning centers of the brain. When your amygdala is freaking out because you feel embarrassed, your prefrontal cortex, where the language processing happens, it just goes offline.
You can't think.
You can't think. You stop taking risks because you don't want to look like an idiot. But here's the beauty of the machine. The AI does not have a face to crinkle up in confusion. It does not sigh. It does not check its watch. It is indifferent.
So it's the ultimate patient teacher. A sociopath, but a helpful one?
It's a survival simulator without the risk. You can say the most broken, nonsensical phrase to ChatGPT. You can butcher the grammar, use the wrong honorifics, sound like a complete toddler, and it won't judge you.
It won't think less of you.
It can't. You can ask it to explain the same concept 10 times in a row. A human tutor would get frustrated. A human conversation partner would walk away. The AI will sit there forever. It creates a safe space for you to be absolutely terrible until you get better.
I love that idea. It's like a flight simulator. You can crash the plane 100 times without actually dying so that when you get in the real cockpit, you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You're decoupling the practice from the social consequences.
Exactly. And the source suggests a very specific strategy for this. You don't just chat aimlessly. Aimless chatting is just another form of wasting time. If you just say, hello, how are you, to the bot, you aren't learning. You need to engineer the simulation.
Okay, how?
You set up role play. You use a prompt like this. You are my buddy from Tokyo. We are talking about anime. Correct me harshly, but only after I finished my thought.
Correct me harshly. That's a bold request. Why do we want the robot to be mean to us?
It's not about being mean, it's about the feedback loop. In Duolingo, the feedback loop is binary.
Right.
Correct or incorrect, green or red.
Right.
And if it's incorrect, it just shows you the right answer and moves on.
Yeah.
You don't learn why you were wrong. The why is everything. With AI, you can do targeted failure analysis.
So you can interrogate your own mistakes.
You can say to the bot, okay, I messed up the past tense there, explain why, and then create a test for me specifically based on the mistakes I made in the last 10 minutes.
That is huge. That's the Blinkist insight right there. It customizes the curriculum in real time based on your actual gaps, not some predetermined path that assumes everyone learns the same way.
Yes. The OWL assumes everyone makes the same mistakes. The AI knows your mistakes. It's personalized remediation. It forces you to confront your specific weaknesses immediately. If you suck at prepositions, the AI will hammer you on prepositions until you stop sucking. The owl will just give you another sentence about a red apple because that's what's next on the path.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here. We're talking about chatting, right?
Yeah.
Texting. Because I hate typing on my phone.
It's awful.
Especially in a new language. Switching keyboards, trying to find the characters, accidental autocorrects, changing my Japanese to nonsense. It feels like friction.
Yeah.
It's a wall. If I have to spend 5 minutes thumb typing a sentence, I am going to quit.
You will.
I'm going to go back to the multiple choice bubbles because they're easy.
And you should quit if you're typing. Typing is a bottleneck. It's too slow.
Well,
This brings us to the tool set part of the deep dive. The sources mention a tool called Typeless, but really it represents a shift in how we interface with the tech. We need to kill the keyboard.
Typeless. It sounds like a minimalist lifestyle brand. Or a cult.
It might be, but think of it as a dictaphone on steroids. The expert argument here is that typing language practice is wildly inefficient. It's like writing code character by character without autocomplete. It's tedious.
The latency.
The latency between your brain forming a thought and your thumbs executing it is too high. You forget the end of the sentence before you type the beginning.
So how does this change the game? Are we just using Siri? Because Siri barely understands me in English.
No. This isn't Siri. You speak. You don't type. You use your voice.
Yeah.
But, and this is the key, it's not just standard voice-to-text that transcribes every single mistake. It uses AI for garbage collection.
Garbage collection. That sounds like a waste management service. What does that mean in a linguistic context?
When we speak, especially in a new language, we're messy. We say, we pause, we self-correct mid-sentence.
I went to the, no, I mean, I am going to the store.
Exactly. We stammer. We make noise. If you used a standard transcriber, the text would be unreadable. It would be full of noise. This tool, or any good AI voice interface, listens to your rambling, filters out the hesitation, filters out the garbage, and outputs perfect, clean text of what you intended to say.
That is incredible. So it smooths out the rough edges so I can see the structure of my thought, and the AI can analyze that clean structure.
Yes, and it changes the math on efficiency completely. Let's do the math. The average person types on a phone at what, maybe 40 words per minute?
On a good day.
If you're typing in a foreign language with a new keyboard layout, you're down to maybe 10. It is painful. It is excruciating. But with this kind of voice processing, the speed jumps to around 158 to 160 words per minute.
That is a massive difference. We're not talking a small improvement. That's 4x speed.
It's the difference between walking and driving. We are moving from the era of pecking at keyboards to voice conducting.
Yeah.
You speak, you see the text instantly, you get the AI correction instantly. The feedback loop tightens to almost zero.
So you can get through hundreds of reps in the time it would take you to type out 10 sentences?
Exactly. And that volume is what leads to fluency, right?
Okay.
It's just reps. But it's high-quality reps, not mindless tapping on birds. It's high-intensity interval training for your mouth. You are training the muscle memory of speech, not the muscle memory of your thumbs.
Okay, so we have the psychology, the safe space to fail. We have the tool voice to text with garbage collection. The friction is gone. Now let's talk about the promise, the 7 weeks claim, because this is where my skepticism usually kicks in hard.
As it should.
I have been burned before. Can you really learn Japanese or any hard language in 7 weeks, or is this just snake oil with a better tech stack?
It depends entirely on your definition of learn. If learn means you want to read the tale of Genji in the original classical Japanese,
Yeah.
no, forget it. You won't do that in 7 years, let alone 7 weeks.
Right.
If you want to discuss quantum physics or negotiate a peace treaty, no, absolutely not.
So we need to manage expectations. We aren't becoming poets.
We need to be aggressively realistic, cynical even. The goal here isn't art. The goal is survival. The source material calls it survival Japanese.
What does survival Japanese look like? Paint the picture. What can I actually do?
It looks like finding a hotel without a map when your phone battery dies.
Yeah.
It looks like buying food when you have a peanut allergy and don't want to die.
Okay, that's important.
It looks like, and I love this specific example from the source, getting into an argument with a taxi driver who is trying to rip you off.
That is a very specific and very useful skill. That's a high-stress, high-stakes situation, not something you practice with flashcards.
It is. It's functional. It's messy. It's not poetic. You won't understand deep cultural nuance or the subtle shifting of seasons in a haiku. You won't be making witty puns that make the whole bar laugh.
I won't be a charming dinner guest.
No. But you will be able to navigate the world. And the efficiency argument is that achieving this survival level via AI in 7 weeks is infinitely faster than the 3 years it would take you to reach that same level by clicking pictures of owls.
That's a trade-off. You're trading polish for utility. The owl gives you polished, useless phrases. The boy eats the apple. The AI gives you messy, useful capability.
Precisely. The owl teaches you the bear drinks the milk. The AI teaches you stop the car, I am going to be sick.
Right.
One of those is useful. The other is just grammar practice for a situation that'll never happen.
Stop the car is definitely more likely to save your life. Or at least save your shoes.
And let's apply the Pareto principle here, the 80-20 rule. In any language, the most common 1,000 words account for about 85% of daily conversation.
Right.
Duolingo tries to teach you everything, linearly. It wants you to know the colors and the animals before you know how to say help. It's absurd. AI allows you to focus strictly on that 20% that gives you 80% of the value. You don't need to know the word for arid bark yet. You need to know bathroom, train, money, police.
It really exposes how inefficient the traditional app model is. It's built for retention of the user, not retention of the language.
Of course.
They drip feed you the language, so you keep paying the subscription. It's in
Yep.
their financial interest for you to learn slowly.
Exactly. If you learn the language in 7 weeks, they would lose a customer. Their goal is to maximize lifetime value. They need you to be bad at the language for as long as possible. The AI doesn't care. The AI has no subscription churn metric to hit. It just outputs what you ask for.
So if we're stripping this down to a verdict,
Yeah.
what do we do? I'm sitting here looking at my phone. I have the app open. The owl's waving at me. It looks cute. It looks harmless. Do I delete the bird?
You delete the bird. You do it today. You stop chasing the dopamine hits. You stop mistaking streaks for skills.
Cold turkey.
You install ChatGPT or a similar LLM, Claude, Gemini, whatever. You get the prompts, the role-play prompts, the harsh correction prompts, and you start speaking into the microphone.
It sounds scary. It sounds like work. It sounds like I might feel stupid for a while.
It should be. Learning is uncomfortable. If you aren't uncomfortable, you aren't learning. You are just playing. You're entertaining yourself. And that's fine if you want entertainment, but don't call it education.
Don't lie to yourself.
Don't lie to yourself that you're studying when you're just tapping shapes.
That is tough love. But I think we need it. We have become too soft with our learning habits.
It's the only kind that works. And look, hear the final judgment from the source, and I think this is the most cynical, important thing we can take away. This sums it all up. If you follow this method, if you have the AI, the prompts, the voice tools, and after 7 weeks you still don't speak the language,
Yeah. What's the excuse then?
there isn't one. It's not the method's fault. It's yours.
Wow.
As the source says, if you don't speak, You are a bad prompt engineer, not a bad student.
Ouch. That stings. That puts the responsibility 100% on me. But I guess that's the point. The tools are there. The excuses are gone. The friction is gone. I can't blame the textbook. I can't blame the teacher. I can't blame the cost.
No more hiding behind the owl.
Yeah.
No more hiding behind, I don't have a tutor. You have the world's smartest, most patient tutor in your pocket for free or 20 bucks a month. Use it.
Well, on that terrifyingly inspiring note, I guess I have some apps to delete and some prompts to write. I am going to go have a fight with a virtual taxi driver.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are stripping away the candy coating of one of the most popular hobbies in the world.
We certainly are.
We're talking about language learning, but we're not talking about, conjugating verbs in some dusty classroom or memorizing flashcards until your eyes bleed.
No, thankfully not.
We're talking about a revolution and, well, a controversy.
It is a controversy that is, frankly, long overdue.
We're looking at a stack of sources today that essentially claim we've been doing it all wrong, all of us. We've got a viral thread that racked up over 3 million views, claiming you can learn a language, specifically Japanese, which is, let's be honest, a beast of a language for English speakers.
It's a monster.
In 7 weeks. And not by using that app with the friendly green owl that we all know and maybe love, but by using AI.
7 weeks. It just sounds like a diet pill commercial, doesn't it? Lose 20 pounds in 20 minutes.
It does. My scam detector was going off immediately.
Of course. But that's the interesting part. When you actually dig into the data, into the academic papers from Hayashi, Sato, and Dylan that we have here, and then you look at the raw user experiences from Reddit, that 7 weeks claim isn't just hype.
So it's not a scam.
It's not a scam. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to an entire industry that's been built on, well, inefficiency.
The premise hooked me immediately because, full disclosure, I'm a victim of the green owl.
Ah, a fellow sufferer.
I have the app on my phone. I have the streak. I get the notifications every day, the passive-aggressive one.
The ones that try to guilt you into opening the app. Your French lesson is ready.
Exactly. And when I saw this thread by a user named Mdriazadin, which is sort of the core of our discussion today, it felt like a personal attack.
I can see why.
It basically says, stop playing games, start using AI, or you will never actually speak the language. It's that blunt.
And it is a personal attack, in a way. It's attacking the illusion of competence. That's the central theme we really need to explore today.
Illusion of competence. Okay.
Yeah. Why do millions and millions of people feel like they are learning a language when, in reality, they are just getting very, very good at playing a sophisticated game of match the shapes?
So the mission for today is simple then. We are putting the game on trial.
I like that. The game is on trial.
We're going to look at why gamified learning might actually be holding you back, maybe even hurting your progress. We're going to unpack the science of L2 anxiety. That's a term I wasn't familiar with, and why talking to a robot might be better psychologically than talking to a human.
Which is a wild concept, but the data backs it up.
And most importantly, we are going to break down the actual toolkit, the 6 specific prompts that supposedly replace years of casual study.
We're moving from an era of passive clicking to an era of active conducting. That's the shift.
Passive clicking to active conducting. I like that.
And if you're still sitting there protecting your streak after listening to this deep dive, well, then we haven't done our job.
All right, let's get into it. Let's start with the hook that started this whole firestorm, this viral thread. 3.1 million views.
An insane number.
The claim is, I learned Japanese in 7 weeks. Now, cynicism check. Is that even physiologically possible?
Okay, so let's be really clear here. If you define learned as I can read a novel by Murakami and debate philosophy in a Kyoto tea house, then no, absolutely not.
Right.
That is a lie. That's clickbait.
Okay, so what can you do?
But if you define learned as survival proficiency, the ability to navigate a city, order food, ask for directions, exist in the country without constantly pulling out a translator.
Tunnel fluency.
Exactly. Then yes, it is possible. But it's only possible if you are ruthless about stripping away the inefficiencies.
And the biggest inefficiency, according to all our sources here, is the very thing that makes these language apps so popular.
It's the gamification itself.
Game is the problem.
The game is the problem. Let's look at the victim here. The green owl. Duolingo. It is a masterpiece of behavioral psychology, I'll give it that.
It is.
But it is not a masterpiece of pedagogy.
Okay, I have to defend it just slightly, just for a second.
Go on.
It gets me to do it every day. I love the little ding sound it makes. I love opening the chest of gems. It feels like I'm making progress.
That feeling. That's dopamine.
Yeah.
That is not education. That is the exact same neural pathway that lights up when you pull the lever on a slot machine in Vegas.
Ouch.
The app rewards you for engagement, not for utility. Think about that. Its goal is to get you to open the app tomorrow.
Meaning they care more about me coming back than me actually speaking French.
Look at their business model. It's built on retention. They need you to care about the Diamond League or whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
If you become truly fluent in French, what do?
I stop using the app. I go to France.
You leave. You graduate.
Hmm.
From a business standpoint, a fluent user is a lost customer.
Wow.
A struggling, addicted user who is terrified of losing their 800-day streak, that is a lifetime subscriber. That's the cynical truth of it.
That is incredibly cynical.
Yeah.
But it makes a terrifying amount of sense.
It's the reality of the attention economy.
Mhm.
We analyzed a thread from the r/Learn Japanese subreddit, and it was specifically titled, Getting Disheartened with Duolingo.
I saw this one. It was sad.
It's tragic. You have people with 400, 500, 800-day streaks. I mean, they have logged hundreds, maybe thousands of hours.
They put in their time.
They've put in the time, and they hit this wall, this horrible moment of realization where they try to have a real conversation or watch a simple show, and they realize they know nothing useful.
There was one specific example in the research that made me laugh out loud, but then I felt bad for laughing.
Yeah.
A user could perfectly translate the sentence, "This horse doesn't drink milk."
This horse doesn't drink milk.
Yeah.
Yes, grammatically, it's perfect. Structurally, totally sound.
Sure.
Utility in the real world, absolute zero. Unless you are an equestrian veterinarian who deals with very specific, very strange dietary concerns for horses, that sentence is cognitive waste.
So why does the app teach it? Why is that in the curriculum?
Because it's easy to verify, it's easy to program, it's easy to create a multiple choice question around it. You show 4 pictures, one is a horse, one is milk. Tap, tap, ding, you get your dopamine. It fits the game mechanics.
It's a solvable problem for the software.
Precisely. Compare that to the absolute messiness of trying to ask a stranger where the bathroom is in a crowded train station in Shibuya.
Oh, God, yeah.
That involves nuance, tone, social hierarchy, understanding the answer they give you. The app avoids that because it can't grade it easily with a ding. It's too complex.
This leads directly to what you called the Pavlovian dog argument.
Yes. You're not being taught a language. You are being trained to react to visual cues on the screen.
Wow.
You see the picture of the horse, you see the word for milk, you tap the pairs, you get a reward. You aren't generating language, you're just recognizing patterns. It's a glorified matching game.
You could technically play with the sound off and still win.
And people do. I mean, you do, right? You said you played on the subway.
I do that all the time. I played on the subway with the sound completely off.
Then you are not learning a spoken language. You are playing a shape matching game on your phone.
That is a brutal assessment.
But it's true, and this creates the illusion of competence we mentioned. You feel smart because the screen is constantly telling you, good job, and you're on a 50-day streak.
Right, it's positive reinforcement.
It is, but your brain hasn't actually done the heavy lifting. The real work of pulling a sentence out of thin air, constructing it, and speaking it, you've only done the easy work of recognition.
So if we look at the efficiency calculation that was in our notes, the math is just terrifying.
It really is. The comparison is so stark, it's almost unbelievable. 3 years on a gamified app versus 7 weeks of intensive, targeted AI prompting.
3 years versus 7 weeks.
Think about what the app does. It spreads the learning out so thin in these tiny 5-minute chunks that you forget the beginning of a concept before you even reach the middle.
It's like drip feeding you information.
It's like trying to fill a bucket with a teaspoon while the sun is out. The rate of evaporation, the rate you forget things, is faster than the rate you're putting new information in.
And this connects to the Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rule.
Precisely. In any language, a very small percentage of the vocabulary and grammar rules, roughly 20% accounts for about 80% of actual daily communication.
The survival stuff.
All the survival stuff. Where is, how much, I would like, my name is. If you target that 20% aggressively, which AI allows you to do, you can become functional incredibly quickly.
The apps don't do that.
The apps don't want you to target that 20% too fast, or you'll run out of levels and get bored. Or worse, you'll feel competent and leave. So they pad the curriculum.
With useless sentences about horses.
They pad it with, the horse doesn't drink milk to keep you on the treadmill, to keep you clicking.
Okay, so the game is rigged. I'm starting to believe you. The owl is not my friend. He's a casino pit boss.
He's a pit boss in a very friendly green costume.
But the alternative AI, it sounds intimidating to a lot of people. It feels cold talking to a robot. It just sounds weird.
It sounds cold, but the research, and this is the fascinating part, suggests it's actually psychologically warmer and safer than a human classroom.
Okay, this is where we get into the heavy science. The Hayashi and Sato study from 2024. This was fascinating to me because it deals with L2 anxiety. Break that down for me.
Sure, L2 simply means second language.
Right.
L1 is your native tongue.
Right.
L2 anxiety is that physical, visceral reaction you get when you try to speak a new language in front of a native speaker.
I know this feeling.
We all do. Your palms sweat, your heart starts racing, your Broca's area, the language center of the brain, it literally freezes up because you are terrified of looking stupid.
I have this. I tried to order a croissant in Paris once. A simple croissant. I'd practiced the sentence. And the waiter just looked at me with this.
Look, the classic Parisian stare of disapproval.
Yes. And I froze. I completely froze. I reverted to just pointing and grunting. It was mortifying.
That's the fear of judgment. It's a primal social fear. And it is the single biggest killer of language acquisition.
So how does AI solve that?
What Hayashi and Sato found is that when students interact with ChatGPT or a similar LLM, that anxiety drops off a cliff. It practically vanishes. Why?
Why?
Because the robot doesn't judge you. It doesn't roll its digital eyes. It doesn't sigh with impatience if you use the wrong conjugation for the 10th time in a row.
There's no social cost to failure.
Zero. It creates what they call a psychological safety net. You can fail 100 times in 5 minutes with an AI, and it will just politely, instantly correct you every single time. If you did that with a human tutor, the awkwardness would become unbearable. You'd give up.
So the lack of humanity in the AI is actually a feature, not a bug.
In the early stages of learning, it is the killer feature. It allows you to get in the reps, to build the muscle memory of speaking without any of the social friction.
But it's not perfect. We have to be fair here and address the complaints we saw in the Reddit threads about the voice chat feature.
Yeah.
A user named Fiskiven had a complaint that I think resonates with anyone who has used these tools.
Yes. The interruption problem. This is a real technical hiccup.
What's the issue?
The user noted that the AI voice mode is sometimes too eager. You, as a learner, naturally pause to think. You're searching for a word.
Right, your brain is buffering.
Exactly. And the AI, programmed to be helpful, jumps in, it cuts you off. It says something like, "Let me know when you're ready," which is the last thing you want to hear.
It's like a very impatient, caffeinated teacher who won't let you finish a sentence.
It is. It's a latency issue, a turn-taking protocol issue in the software. It will get better.
Yeah.
But here's the crucial comparison. Compare that minor annoyance to the utter silence of a textbook.
Sure.
Or compare it to the passive nature of watching YouTube videos. The Hayashi and Sato study had a YouTube group versus a ChatGPT group.
And the results were stark.
Night and day. The YouTube group were passive learners. They watched, they listened, they consumed. The ChatGPT group were active learners. They had to speak, use the language, consider their words.
Active recall. That's the mechanism, isn't it? The holy grail of learning.
It is the only mechanism that truly matters for skill acquisition. When you watch a video, you get this warm, fuzzy feeling of understanding. You think, yeah, I get that.
But you don't really.
You don't know if you get it until you're forced to reproduce it. When you have to face a blank input box and construct a sentence from nothing, your brain has to work. That struggle is the learning. The AI forces you to produce. The app lets you consume.
But here's the catch, and this is a big one. You can't just open up ChatGPT and type, "Teach me Japanese."
No, absolutely not. That's a terrible prompt.
Why? What happens?
It'll just give you a generic, boring textbook-style lesson. Here's how you say hello. Here are the numbers 1 through 10. It's useless.
And this brings us to the second study, the Thomas Dillon study on prompt literacy. This is a concept I think everyone listening needs to understand because it applies to so much more than just language learning.
It's the new literacy. For 100 years, literacy meant reading and writing. Now it means knowing how to effectively manage and direct an artificial intelligence.
Dillon studied university students in Korea who were learning English. What did he find about how they naturally used the AI?
He found that, left to their own devices, most students are terrible at it. They're not literate in this new sense.
What were they doing wrong?
They treated the AI like a glorified spell checker or a thesaurus. They mostly used what he called compensatory strategies.
Meaning?
Meaning they would write a bad sentence in English, paste it into the AI, and just say, "Fix this," or make this sound more natural, or make this sentence easier.
So they were using the AI to do the work for them, not to learn with them.
Exactly. They were outsourcing the cognitive load. They viewed the AI as a servant or a tool to patch the holes in their knowledge after the fact.
Not as a practice partner.
Absolutely not. The study showed very low scores on the dimensions of social presence and authenticity. The students didn't feel like they were chatting with a partner. They felt like they were processing data through a machine.
And the argument here is that to actually learn, we need to completely flip that mindset. We have to become prompt engineers for our own brains.
You have to be the director. The AI is a brilliant actor, a phenomenal actor who can play any part. But it needs a script. It needs direction.
And if you just say, teach me, that's like telling an actor just act.
It's useless. But if you give it a specific scenario, a specific role, specific constraints, and a clear objective, it transforms into the most patient, knowledgeable, and effective tutor you have ever had.
So let's get into the meat of this, the toolkit. We have these 6 prompts from that viral thread. These are supposedly the magic spells that unlock the language.
The keys to the kingdom.
I want to walk through these one by one, but I want you to critique them. Are they actually good prompts? What makes them work?
They are excellent prompts, but they're only excellent if you use them with the right intent. It's about how you engage with them.
Okay, let's start. Prompt number 1, the Daily Chat Buddy. The prompt is, you're a friendly native speaker. Let's have a 10-minute chat in Japanese about, and you insert a topic. Correct my mistakes as we go.
Okay, this seems simple, but let's break down the components because each part is doing important work.
Go ahead.
First, you're a friendly native speaker. You are setting the role and the tone. You're telling it not to be a cold, robotic encyclopedia.
You're programming the personality.
Precisely. Second, let's have a 10-minute chat. You're setting a clear, achievable goal. It's not an endless, intimidating session. It's a sprint.
Okay.
Third, and this is crucial, correct my mistakes as we go. This establishes an immediate, real-time feedback loop. This is the part Duolingo completely fails at. But the hidden power here, the real magic, is the context, the topic.
Give me an example of how that context changes everything.
Sure. On Duolingo, you learn the word for apple in isolation. It's just a piece of vocabulary floating in space.
Right, Ringo.
But in this prompt, you say, let's chat about buying groceries at a market in Osaka. Suddenly, you aren't just learning the word apple.
You're learning how to use it.
You're learning the whole transaction. How much is this apple? That's a bit too expensive. Do you have anything fresher? I'll take 3, please. You are learning the social dance of the language, all wrapped around that one word.
And because it's AI, I can make the topic literally anything I want. I could say, let's chat about Godzilla attacking the city.
And you probably should. Research shows that emotion and novelty are huge aids to memory. If you're laughing your head off about a ridiculous scenario where you're trying to explain to the AI why Godzilla is destroying your favorite ramen shop, you are far more likely to remember the vocabulary you use than if you're just clicking, the boy eats the bread for the 1,000th time.
That's a great point. Okay, prompt number 2, the grammar gap finder. The prompt is, give me a 10-question quiz on a specific grammar topic. After I answer, explain my errors in simple terms.
This is the antidote to the traditional textbook method.
How so?
In a textbook, what do? You read a chapter about, say, the past tense. You learn the rule, then you do 20 boring practice exercises.
Right, rote memorization.
This method flips that on its head. It suggests, try to speak first. Use prompt number 1. Go have your conversation about Godzilla. And when you realize you don't know how to say, Godzilla destroyed the building yesterday.
You've identified a gap in your knowledge.
You've identified a real, immediate need. Then you use the second prompt. Give me a quiz on the past tense. It's just-in-time learning.
So it's not just in case learning, it's just in time.
It's grammar on demand.
Yeah.
You only learn the rule when you have a hole in your bucket that needs plugging. That makes the knowledge incredibly sticky because you have an immediate practical use for it.
Yeah.
You're not learning a rule for a test, you're learning it so you can talk about giant monsters more effectively.
Okay, that makes sense. Prompt number 3, the vocabulary turbo pack. Teach me 15 daily use words about a theme, like travel or food. Provide example sentences and memory tricks for each.
Okay, the key instruction here, the part that makes this so powerful, is with memory tricks.
Mnemonic devices.
Yes. Mnemonic devices are intensely personal. What works for you might not work for me, but AI is surprisingly, almost spookily, good at generating weird associative hooks that just work.
You give me an example, like How would it teach the Japanese word for cat, which is neko?
So, an app like Duolingo will just show you a picture of a cat next to the word neko. It's a simple, passive association.
Right.
An AI, prompted for a mnemonic, might say something like, imagine a cat with a very long neko, a giraffe cat, that's neko. Or it might say, imagine you're allergic and a cat comes near you and your knee goes weak. Nigo, neko.
It's silly. It's a bit dark, maybe.
It's silly and it's weird, and that's why you won't forget it. It forces your brain to create a bizarre mental image that's active mental scaffolding. Tapping on a picture is passive.
Okay, I'm sold on that one. Prompt number 4, the pronunciation coach. This one's a bit more technical. Analyze my recording of this sentence and give me word-by-word feedback on my pronunciation. This requires the voice capability of the AI.
It does, and this is where the uncanny valley we talked about comes in again. The AI's analysis isn't going to be as nuanced as a trained human dialect coach, not yet.
So
It's a weakness, but
Yeah.
think about the alternative. The alternative for most people learning a language alone is nothing.
what do you mean?
They never speak out loud. They read, they listen, but the actual muscles in their mouth, tongue, and throat never move. They're learning in silence.
I'm guilty of this. I read French in my head and I sound perfectly fluent. Then I open my mouth and I sound like I'm choking on a baguette.
Because speaking is a physical, athletic skill. It's like a golf swing. It requires muscle memory, tongue placement, breath control. You can't learn it by watching videos. You have to do the reps.
So the AI forces the reps.
It forces the reps. Even if the AI's own voice is a little robotic, the act of you speaking into the microphone and getting feedback, even if it's just you missed the pitch accent on that second syllable, is invaluable. It's infinitely better than silence.
All right. Prompt number 5, the idiom and culture decoder. This seems to address the why behind the words. The prompt might be something like, explain the cultural context behind the Japanese phrase, otsukar-sama desu.
This is huge, especially for a high-context language like Japanese. This is where you graduate from being a walking dictionary to being a real communicator.
Explain that.
Okay, you can learn the literal translation of that phrase, which is something like, you are tired. An app might teach you that.
Which sounds kind of rude, actually.
It sounds very rude. But in Japan, it's something you say when a colleague is leaving work. The real meaning is closer to, thank you for your hard work, but it also implies, I recognize your fatigue, and even, I am sorry for leaving before you. It's layered with social meaning.
So an app teaches you the words.
An app teaches you the words. The AI, with this prompt, can explain the guilt. It can explain the social obligation, the workplace hierarchy, all of it.
The AI is teaching the cultural anxiety.
Which is a crucial part of fluency. If you don't understand the culture, you're just a clunky translation machine who's going to accidentally insult people.
This is a really good point. Finally, prompt number 6, the progress tracker. The prompt is, build me a personalized weekly checklist to get from my current level, e.g. A1, to my goal, e.g. A2 in Japanese.
This is the boss move. This is the moment where you fire the manager Duolingo and you hire yourself as the CEO of your own learning.
And this connects directly back to the metacognitive strategies from the Dylan study.
Yes. Metacognition is just a fancy word for thinking about your thinking. When you blindly follow the linear path the owl lays out for you, you aren't thinking about your learning at all.
You're just a passenger.
You're just stepping on the next glowing stone on the path. But when you work with the AI to build your own checklist, you are forced to take ownership of the roadmap. You have to decide what's important to you.
Like, this week I'm focusing on restaurant vocabulary because I have a trip planned.
Exactly. Or, I'm bad at past tense, so that's my grammar focus. It replaces the fake gamification of streaks and leagues with actual, meaningful, self-regulated planning.
It sounds incredibly empowering, but I can already hear the listeners saying, this sounds like a lot of work.
It is work. That's the catch. That is the giant flashing asterisk on this whole conversation.
It's not a game.
It's not a game. Active conducting requires real mental energy. Passive clicking is something you can do while you're half watching Netflix. That's precisely why the apps are so popular. They feel like learning, but they are categorized in the brain as leisure. These AI prompts are actual focused study.
Which brings us to the very necessary reality check. Section 4, the limitations.
Yeah.
We absolutely cannot let people walk away from this thinking this is some kind of magic pill.
No, we have to be brutally honest about what this can and cannot do.
So that 7 weeks claim, we need to hammer this point home.
It is a bold-faced marketing lie if you take it to mean fluency. Let me repeat that. You cannot become fluent in Japanese in 7 weeks. It's impossible. What you can achieve is a strong survival level. You'll be able to function. You will not be reading Murakami or understanding complex anime plots without subtitles.
And the Reddit threads were absolutely brutal about the kanji aspect.
Rightfully so. And this is the biggest blind spot of this AI chat-based method. Japanese has three distinct writing systems. You have hiragana and katakana, which are phonetic alphabets.
Manageable.
And then you have kanji. Kanji are thousands of complex Chinese characters that were adopted into Japanese, each with multiple meanings and pronunciations.
You can't just chat your way into knowing 2,000 kanji.
You can't. It's a different kind of learning. It requires brute force rote memorization. You need dedicated tools for it, like spaced repetition systems apps like Wanakani or Anki. The AI can help explain the meaning of a character, but it cannot upload the thousands of them to your brain.
So if you use only these chat prompts, you might be able to speak conversational Japanese.
But you will be functionally illiterate. You won't be able to read a menu, a street sign, or a simple email. It's a massive hole in the strategy.
Okay, that's a huge caveat. And then there's the other major risk, the hallucination risk. The Sheikh et al. Study from 2023 really highlighted this.
This is the dark side of LLMs. Hallucinations are when the AI, with complete and utter confidence, lies to you.
It just makes stuff up.
It makes stuff up. In language learning, this is incredibly dangerous. The fundamental programming of these AIs is to be helpful and agreeable. It's a sycophant. It wants to please you.
So if I say something is grammatically wrong, but the AI understands what I meant to say.
It might just nod along and continue the conversation to keep things flowing smoothly. It might not correct you because it prioritizes being a helpful assistant over being a strict teacher, unless you explicitly and repeatedly tell it to be strict in your prompt.
It's like a polite friend who doesn't want to embarrass you by pointing out you have spinach in your teeth.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy. Or worse, it will invent a word. If you ask it, hey, what's a cool slang term for awesome in Japanese? It might hallucinate a term that no Japanese person under the age of 30 has ever used.
And then you go to Tokyo.
And you say it, and people look at you like you've just beamed down from another planet. You've been poisoned by bad data.
So the advice here is trust but verify.
Trust, but always, always cross-reference. Have a reliable dictionary app open. Use it as a practice partner who is brilliant and knowledgeable, but also occasionally drunk and prone to making things up. Do not treat the AI as the single source of truth.
A drunk, helpful, robotic genius. Got it.
That's about right.
Okay, one last piece of this puzzle before we get to the final verdict. The interface itself. We saw a product on Product Hunt called Typeless, and it sparked a really interesting discussion about the keyboard.
This, to me, is the next logical step. The death of the keyboard for language learning. Think about how awful it is to type on your phone in a foreign language. Oh, it's terrible. You're constantly switching keyboards, you're trying to figure out the spellings. Your phone's autocorrect is fighting you every step of the way.
It's pure friction. It completely breaks your flow state. The core concept behind things like Typeless and the general move toward voice-first AI is that mobile typing is broken.
It's not a natural way to interact.
Not for language. Speaking is, on average, 4 times faster than typing on a mobile phone. We speak at about 160 words per minute. Most people peck out maybe 40 on a phone keyboard.
So for a learner, removing the typing friction creates a much faster feedback loop.
It more closely mimics natural acquisition. Think about it. Children don't learn to write before they learn to speak.
No, they babble?
They babble, they listen, they mimic, they speak broken sentences. The text, the writing comes years later. By using voice-to-voice AI, you're reclaiming that natural biological pathway to learning a language.
You're removing a layer of abstraction. You are. You speak your intent. How do I say, where is the station, in broken Japanese? And the AI hears you, understands, corrects, and replies with its own voice.
You're the director again. You're not the typist.
You're the conductor. You aren't worrying about the individual keystrokes. You're focused on the idea, the communication. It's a fundamental shift in interaction.
So we have covered the failure of the gamified apps, the science of anxiety, the 6 magic prompts, their limitations in the future of voice. I think it's time for the verdict.
The verdict is pretty clear, I think.
If I am sitting here right now with my 400-day streak on Duolingo, and I'm genuinely proud of it, what do I do? Do I delete the app tomorrow?
Look, let me be charitable for a moment. If you genuinely enjoy the game as a game, then keep the game.
Okay.
If you like playing it on the toilet for 5 minutes, that's fine. It is probably better for your brain than doom scrolling on Twitter, but you have to stop lying to yourself.
What's the lie?
The lie is calling it education. Don't call it that. Call it what it is. Entertainment. A puzzle game with a language theme.
And if I actually genuinely want to learn to speak the language?
Then you have to fire the owl. Tomorrow, you copy the 6 prompts we discussed, you download a good LLM app with voice capability, and you start doing the hard, uncomfortable, but incredibly effective work of active recall.
It's about taking responsibility for your own brain, isn't it? Moving from being a consumer to being a director.
It is. The barriers to entry are gone. The cost is basically zero. The accessibility is unprecedented. You have a tireless, patient, native speaker in your pocket 24/7. The excuses are gone.
Which leads us to your final, somewhat brutal thought for the listeners, the cynical takeaway.
My final thought is this. In the past, you had a lot of legitimate excuses. You could blame the system, you could blame the expensive classes, the terrible textbooks, the lack of access to native speakers. You could say, I can't learn Japanese because I don't live in Japan.
And those were all valid excuses.
They were.
Yeah.
And they are all dead. Every single one of them. If you have these prompts and you have this technology and you put in the time and you still cannot speak the language at a conversational level in 6 months,
Then what?
then it is not the AI's fault. It is not Duolingo's fault.
Whose fault is it?
It means you are a bad prompt engineer, or let's be blunt, it means you're just lazy. The tool is no longer the bottleneck. You are.
Ouch. Dropping the mic directly on the listeners. But it is a fair point. We are officially out of excuses.
Completely out. The power is there. The question is whether you'll use it.
Well, on that rather sobering note, I'm going to go have a very awkward conversation with a robot. Go check your prompts, not your streaks. We'll see you in the next deep dive.